And with that being said, we're going to transition and talk about the news of the week. We got a couple of important things to cover really quickly here. The first being a follow-up to an item that we previously brought up a few weeks ago, and that was the casting for Superman Legacy. That's the new James Gunn film, which is going to kickstart his brand new DC universe in 2025. We previously talked about some of the rumors that we were hearing in terms of casting and who was actually in sort of the front running position to be the titular character of Superman, but also Lois Lane as well. And we saw reports that were saying that they were going to hold the final casting calls in the past couple of weeks here. And they did indeed do so. And in fact, James Gunn, Warner Brothers DC, they have found their next Superman, and they have also found their next Lois Lane. David Corenswet, known for his role in Netflix's The Politician, will be taking on the role of Clark Kent Superman, and Rachel Brosnahan, coming fresh off of finishing up The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Prime Video, will be taking up the mantle of Lois Lane. So those are our first two official casting announcements. Of course, we'll probably hear about other cast additions over the next few months as they continue to develop the film. We still don't know who the villain's going to be. We don't necessarily know what the story is really going to be, but James Gunn has finished the script, and so they do know kind of the direction that they're going to go in. But we got our Lois and Clark, David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan. How do you feel about this? Does it make you excited? And ultimately, how do you think that they'll work out in terms of their chemistry with each other?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this, man. We of course talked about this. This is the two picks that we had, and I think they make sense, man. David Cornswell looks like Superman. Somebody called him best choice Henry Cavill. I'm like, he just looks like Superman. That's really, and that's how you know Henry Cavill also looks like Superman. And yeah, I think that boy, he needs to be in the gym right now because he is a skinny guy. So hopefully let's get David Cornswet in the gym right now. I'm pretty freaking excited about Rachel Brosnahan. To be honest, it'll be hard for me to context switch because I've been living with her as Midge Maisel for so long, and she has to be so funny in that show all the time. And Lois is not that person. So I think that's going to get taken used to whenever that time comes around to see her. It's like, I'm going to be expecting Lois to crack a joke because it's Rachel Brosnahan, but I'm going to have to be like, okay, we're serious. And I think I'm going to have to bring that back to reality, but I think she's a tremendous actress. There are serious moments in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel as well, and she absolutely kills it. And so I really am looking forward to what she can do. Somebody said, I sent a tweet that was like, they never cast Lois right. I was like, what? Lois Lane? Dang. Okay, that's a bold take. Shoot, I thought Amy was doing great. But man, I am looking forward to see if they can develop some good chemistry. I'm sure they'll have whatever early readings and screenings and do everything they need to do to get them in the right place. I think I also love this announcement, how early it's coming, because it feels like I exhale a little bit because now they can get to the work and do what they need to do in order to get this movie in the right spot, man. But I'm pretty excited about it. I think we have two good people, and I think it's a good casting. And I love the fresh look at it too. It's nobody that everybody just loves, you know what I mean? I really love this fresh take at this casting. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Certainly, this might be one of the most screen tested, most rigorous processes in terms of casting that we've seen in recent memory. This has been a long search for this particular role. Don't believe it at all that this is at all new, that they've just started to do this. Like, folks, they have been working on this for a long time now, because there have been a lot of rumors about the casting of this movie, because they have to be super careful, because these characters, especially Superman, are about to carry a new shared cinematic universe on their shoulders for the next who knows how long, for at least 10 years. So when you launch with a movie called Superman Legacy that is going to kickstart a new era for DC in live action, there's a tremendous amount of pressure, something that has to certainly be very scrutinized, as much as we scrutinize a Spider-Man casting or a James Bond casting. Like, it's very much similar to that process. And so I'm relieved that they finally reached this finish line, because it says to me that James Gunn feels very confident in who he's picked. He also likes the people that he works with, which we know is very huge for him. He does not like to work with quote unquote assholes, which, I'm sure there's plenty of them in Hollywood, plenty to choose from. But it seems like David Cornswet is also a guy who has not done a ton of work, which I'm excited about. He's not this huge
Exactly.
superstar. He's not this very well-known name. A lot of people will discover him for the first time because of this role. And I think that's cool. I think that that's a really good thing. And to a somewhat lesser degree, I think also the same for Rachel Brosnahan. She's certainly a little bit more well-known and a little bit more popular, but she hasn't necessarily been in a huge mega blockbuster, you
Hmm.
know, so this will also be an opportunity for people to really discover her. They're both relatively young. He's 29, she's 32, so they're complementary in age and that chemistry between each other. I know that they had to screen test them over and over and over again. That's going to be just so integral and so important to the story. We know Lois and Clark, that is your bread and butter for any Superman story. So I can't
Yep.
wait to see it brought to life. I think that they have some really talented people on their hands, and it gets me super excited. And as I mentioned at the top when we first started talking about this, I'm also extremely excited to see who else fills out the rest of the cast, because villain, supporting characters, possibly Perry Mason, if he's going to be included in the story. We don't know. Like, there's so many other
Hmm.
roles that can be very important. Jor-El or you know, his
Yeah.
father, you know, and his mother in
Jimmy.
Kansas, like all that stuff. Like there are a
Hmm.
lot more roles that are equally as important to the Superman mythos, including the obviously the main two characters with Lois and Clark. So they still got their work cut out for them, but I'm very optimistic about the direction that they're heading.